When I spent some time in Guatemala a number of years ago, their farewell expression wasn't the common adios that you would imagine in the Spanish language, but rather it was hasta luego, which is kind of like until we meet again. Last week, we had a fabulous send-off for Phil and Irene. There will be a time in our congregational life where we do not see them, but it is more like until we meet again with them. The time and the distance will allow us to recalibrate our relationship, as Edgar so aptly wrote in the insert in the bulletin today. We continue to journey into this leadership transition together. And the next 4 months, Lauren, John, Carissa, and I will work together at addressing the pastoral needs, and our office staff of Jill, Karen, Kathy, and Jennifer will remain. Laura shared with you earlier about our worship theme this fall. We will have a variety of preachers and services together, and we are also taking the opportunity to create space for some new experiences in worship. One of which you may notice today that there is not a formal sermon. The scripture, however, does not show any less importance. Our passages today from Mark and James both highlight the importance of our inner being, our soul space, and the health that is there. The good news of the Mark text is that our loving God calls us to examine ourselves, revealing our hidden shortcomings and drawing us into closer relationship with God's self and with humankind. We need meaningful and fulfilling relationships right now. We need spaces of belonging and belovedness in this scattered and oftentimes distracting landscape around us. We need places to ground ourselves. We come this morning, and maybe often mornings, we wake up perhaps hungering for something more in life. Sure, we have our hunger for food, but we have hungers for many more things, for more joy, more fulfillment, more space to rest, more sustenance to strengthen our resilience, to decrease our depression and anxiety, to fulfill our longings for connection and belonging. This is for one reason that we commune at the table. Communion is a ritual of renewal. It's a ritual to remind us of God's divine love that is a gift to us. Our cupped hands are coming forward for a blessing are both symbols of our openness to receive and be filled not in a superficial way, but in a mysterious way that runs deep in our soul space, that gets to the core of who we are as beloved children of God. James, Jesus' half-brother, was a leader of the Mother Church in Jerusalem. He calls the believers to living whole lives and not fractured ones. Lives of integrity where what we say and what we do are consistent with each other. This kind of living grows wisdom in the face of real life living. If we truly desire to be wise, wisdom from God will come from another plane of existence to help us create an alternative community of care in this world. If we dwell in wisdom and allow it to take root in us, we will be more equipped to resist the cravings of this world that disrupt the self and community. The next weeks and months We will be invited to allow God's wisdom to root in us. We will seek to rest together, like this coming weekend at retreat, to allow this wisdom to be nourished so that we can rise in new life, living lives of integrity and wholeness. What are the deepest longings that you bring today? And how have you sought to fill them? How might this very act of coming to the table and receiving communion or a blessing be one that seeks to fill those longings? I invite us to take a moment to just reflect on this, and if it's easier for you to focus with your eyes closed, you may feel free to do so. Sometimes it takes time for words or ideas to go from our heads and to travel to the deeper places within us. So I invite you to imagine all the things that feel like heavy weights, or maybe you would describe them as distractions, to come to your mind. And as each one of those come to your mind, I invite you to release them with an exhale, one by one, allowing each of them to float away like a helium balloon. And now shift in imagining some of the core elements that make up who you are, that are important to you. And take each one of those, inhaling deeply, and imagine them taking root, or even deeper root, within you, allowing the rain of God's Spirit to nourish them. I invite you to return your gaze to this space.